So I know we've been talking about all this 50 Cent and his son drama, right? And I think his son is an entitled baby ass bitch, right? Saying that 80 grand a year isn't enough for him. He needs more. But whatever the fuck ever. How regardless of how the fuck you feel about it, that's where we was. But y'all have made me aware of some pretty relevant information that like makes his son look even worse, bro. Because Marquise is crying about this 6,700 not being enough to sustain his quality of life, right? He need to start over because and 7 grand a month basically wasn't enough. He needs more. But this motherfucker didn't say nothing about the fact that 50 was paying his baby moms $25,000 a month up until he was 10 years old, right? And then baby moms, what's her name, Shaniqua or something? I don't know. Shaniqua or something said that wasn't enough. She wanted more, so she took him to court trying to get $50,000 a month. And from her doing that, the judge then took the $25,000 he was paying and knocked that shit down to 6,700. So Marquise Jackson, right? If you out here tripping about the money not being enough. You had it. You was straight before. You know what I mean? Your mama fucked it up for you. That's a whole nother conversation you need to be having with your fucking mom, man. But I say that to say, man, there's a lot of y'all. It wasn't a lot of y'all. Majority of y'all, we all the same. We are on the same wave that, his son is an entitled ass bitch and he needs to go out here and get his own. He can't rely on his fucking pops to be doing it for him, especially when he has ill will towards his father. He disrespects his father and shit, right? Whole nother conversation, man. But a lot of y'all was like, man, he needs more because his father makes more, and then there's a percentage he's supposed to fucking be getting and shit. And like, no, 50 went by the book. He's doing what the state told him to fucking do. If you got any issues with it, take it up with the motherfucking state. You know what I'm saying? And you shot yourself in the foot. At least your mom did. You should be clapping back at your mama, not 50. Especially when you being a whole asshole to your father. Right, so that was a big piece of information I felt needed to be included with all this bullshit going on, which makes 50 son look worse. You know what I mean? Makes him look worse. But in addition to that, I got sent this story. I haven't checked it out yet, but y'all told me I need to fucking peep it. It says 50 Cent's son Marquise says he's been running a business. 50 Cent's son Marquise says he's been running a business since the age of 13. 50 Cent tells the true story. So just some more bullshit coming out of goddamn 50 Cent's son's mouth. And 50 out here is trying to do damage control. Not even damage control, trying to clean it up. I'd imagine, man. I would hate to have a fucking son that acts the way he's acting, though, bro. That's got to be miserable, especially when you was fucking high profile and it's 50 fucking Cent and your fucking whole son is a bitch. That's crazy. Anyway, let's check this shit out. Little entitled me was working on business at the age of 13. Like the kid has no hustle, LOL. And if it makes you feel any better, that's prop money from a movie I was shooting. Hashtag don't choke. News 50 Cent. News 50 Cent's 13-year-old son Marquise planning to open online sneaker store. So is this from his page or 50 page? Little entitled me was working. So that's him. That's 50's son saying that.
Just as he doesn't know what it's like to grow up under the circumstances I did, I don't know what it was like to grow up as the son of 50 Cent. Certainly on the surface, he had everything he wanted. But there must have been pressures and insecurities from being my son that I can't identify with.
I accept that.
I still can't see how those pressures and insecurities would force a child to go against his own father, especially a father who has provided everything for him. As I go over our relationship in my mind, the only answer that I can come up with is that I actually might have done too much for Marquise. How do you make a privileged child feel deprived or angry? I guess by getting him whatever he wants. Like many kids from his generation, Marquise has always been into sneakers. Because he's my son, he couldn't just rock any old sneakers either. If a new pair of Jordans came out, he had to have them right away. If Marquise asked for a pair of Jordans on Monday, his mother would make sure they were on his feet by Tuesday. It still didn't make him happy. Instead of being excited to rock his new pair of Jordans, All Marquise could think about was all of the retro Jordans he didn't have,
Spoiled.
all the different flyaways and colors that weren't in his closet. When he should have felt gratification, all he really felt was disappointment. I could not relate. The kid didn't have a job, but somehow wanted to collect $300 sneakers, and then still felt unhappy when he actually got them? His entire mindset was alien to me. I have to believe his mother was behind his disappointment. He thought he could have every sneaker ever made, even though he hadn't actually earned any of them. He's not regular, she would tell me when I asked why he needed another new pair.
He's not regular because he your son. So you got it, give it to him. But I was just having this conversation with my girl last night. Well, not exactly this, but, just raising children in, privileged situations. You know what I'm saying? And trying to instill in your children to, like, they still got to get it. They got to get out the mud. That's how you build character. That's how you get through things, how you grow. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have anything to rely on besides this, and you're focused on attaining whatever objective or goals at hand, you got daddy to fall back on. You're crippling yourself. You're just a whole handicap. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, like, imagine how it is for parents who know what it is to struggle to become successful, and compare that to children who are privileged, who don't necessarily have to worry for anything because they know at the end of the day their parents got them. But to get them to realize that you need to go out here and motivate yourself to get it on your own, not rely on me. You know what I'm saying? And that's the principle that 50 Cent is pretty much saying. Like, I'm not about to put no silver spoon in my fucking son's mouth, and I can't relate. You know what I'm saying? I want my man to become a man, not be a little self-entitled asshole. But, mama was fucking babying him and shit, and, it turned into what it turned into. Now look at him, fucking 25 years old, crying that his pops don't pay him enough child support. I can't imagine being a 25-year-old man saying my dad don't pay me enough child support when he's paying me $80,000 a fucking year. Get the entire fuck out of here, bro. That's crazy.
He's your son. She had already established the pattern that you didn't have to work for something to get it. Marquise was just following her lead. I didn't want that sense of entitlement to become a core part of who he was. I was determined to help him learn that he would actually be much happier when he worked for the things he wanted, that their value would increase exponentially.
Exactly.
One day I was driving through Harlem when I noticed that a sneaker store was going out of business on 125th Street. My mind immediately flashed to my son. Marquise loves sneakers, so I pulled over to see if I can grab him a couple of pairs on the cheap. Being naturally inquisitive, I asked the owner why he was going out of business if sneakers were so hot. He explained that he picked the wrong location and never got enough foot traffic to make it work. My mind started clicking.
Let me fucking fix this.
Out of business if sneakers were so hot. He explained that he picked the wrong location and never got enough foot traffic to make it work. My mind started clicking. Say, how much do you pay for a pair of Air Force Ones, I asked. About $40, he told me. And how much you sell them for? About $80. That seemed like a pretty solid profit margin to me. What are you going to do with all these Air Forces now? I asked. I don't know, he said. Probably just stash them in my basement till I figure out my next move. I tell you what, I told him. I'm going to buy the rest of the inventory from you right now at cost. The guy jumped at my offer. Suddenly, I was the new owner of a couple hundred pairs of Nikes. I hatched a plan. Marquise was in Atlanta, where I knew storage space was cheap. I would ship the sneakers down to him, where he could put them in a warehouse. Instead of opening up a brick and mortar shop, which would have taken a lot of investment and depended on foot traffic, he could set up an internet site selling sneakers, what is referred to as direct-to-consumer sales. All it would require would be for him to run the site and maybe hire a friend to manage the warehouse side of things. The idea felt like a winner. As soon as I left the shop, I called up my son. Yo, Marquise, you know how you always been fascinated with shoes? I asked. Well, I just figured out a way you can afford them yourself and start to earn a little money of your own, too. I broke down the whole plan for him. I explained how it was a great opportunity that would not only support his passion, but allow him to get a nuts and bolts understanding of how business works. This is a layup, I told him. Not too many stores get to start off with free inventory. You could really do something with this. If you're truly passionate about sneakers, this is the time to show it. Marquise said all the right things on the phone, how excited he was and how it sounded like a great opportunity. So I had the shoes shipped down to Atlanta. Then I never heard from him about it again. Weeks and months passed. Finally one day, his mother called me and announced that she and Marquise been talking. Instead of an online sneaker store, they wanted to open a clothing boutique in Atlanta. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The plan I envisioned didn't include her. I wanted our son to learn how to be responsible for himself. By injecting herself into the mix, she was just trying to keep him a boy a little longer. I still wanted Marquise to get some experience, so I said, sure, let me know when you guys want to do something. But of course, their boutique never went anywhere. And the online sneaker shop didn't either. My issue with Marquise wasn't that he wanted all those sneakers. When I was a kid, I wanted sneakers too. The difference is that I was willing, make that determined, to do the work necessary to obtain them. I wouldn't for a second want Marquise to have to resort to the type of work I put in to get my kicks. At the time, I perceived selling drugs as the only viable option in my environment, so I pursued it. Marquise has so many more options in front of him than I ever had. I just needed to see him pick one and put in the work. Sure, Marquise never following up on the sneakers might seem like a small thing. The type of irresponsibility and lack of initiative teenagers...
That's not small at all. That's not small at all. It just made it even more blatant and clear to 50 or what type of child he has as a son. And, partly due to no fault of his own, because his mom is definitely keeping him a little boy. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't want to generalize how, men and women parent, man, but you got 50 taking the logical approach and the woman taking the more emotional, nurturing type, but she wants to keep her baby and infuse herself in everything that he's got going on. When 50 wants his son to grow up and be a man. You know what I mean? And it's just, that's all it is. It's just he's soft and coddled and same shit I was saying before, bro. Same shit I was saying before. So like anything you hear coming out of Marquise's mouth should go in one ear and out the other, bro. Like 50 out here he gave him the entire blueprint, bro. And like I said this last video, fucking 50 is the source of opportunity for Marquise, man. Like, can you imagine just picking this motherfucker's brain to do whatever you want to do? Like 50 is a business man. He knows how to get it down. This motherfucker has provided you free inventory to get your fucking shop off the ground. But the way 50 described it, Marquise wanted to have the shoes. He wouldn't have the shoes for himself. Like he was getting high of his own supply. You can never be a businessman. Like Marquise is not a investor. He's a consumer. You know what I'm saying? And that's a childish ass way to look at life. And that's terrible. He's fucked. He's fucked. And there's no getting out of that for him at 25 years old too. 25 years old, still talking like that, like you feel like somebody owe you shit and you're entitled because my father is successful, bitch. Bitch, please, bruh. Bitch, please, dog. You know what I mean? You a man, you should be putting all your energy and effort into creating your own path when you're not known as 50 Cent's son and you're known as Marquise for whatever the fuck it is that you've accomplished. But nah, you 50 Cent's son who feel like he was done wrong because 80 grand a month wasn't enough for you. Bruh. Damn. And then on top of that, the way 50 was saying how his son acts towards him, like he has ill will towards him, like pretty much he's his enemy. Man. And
young adults display all the time. But it was a huge disappointment to me. Forget about being able to afford his personal sneaker collection. That online store could have ended up making us both a killing.
Facts.
We had that conversation years ago. Since then, online sneaker sites have become incredibly lucrative.
Facts.
GOAT.com is valued at $550 million, while StockX.com has $1 billion valuation. If Marquise had followed through on what we talked about, he could have been included in that conversation. He could be independently rich. Shit, he might be in a position to tell me to go fuck myself and my money if that's what he wanted to do. I'm sure when Marquise reads about...
Hey, he keeping it real, boy. That's a fact, dog. Hey, I fuck with it, bruh.
about GOAT or StockX. Deep down, he probably realizes I was right. Maybe he says, why did I not listen to my father and start that fucking online shop? Or maybe he can't bring himself to say that.
Because not only is he entitled, but he got too much ego to admit to 50 that he was wrong. Bitch. Damn. That's rough. You know. What do? Just, gotta just unhook you gotta just let go. Let go and let whatever take place. And just let your son make his own decisions, bro. You know what I mean? That's all you can do. I feel bad for 50 though. That's your son. And he out here walking around gender fluid and shit, bro. Like basically, dog. Like he has no nuts because mom's cut him off. Anyway, thoughts.